Satyamayi Parame Satyam Jnanam Satyam Jnanam Jyoti Aravinda Jyoti Aravinda Jyoti Aravinda. So, the very first sentence of our PDF today, there is just beautiful words of the mother. I am always seated in your heart, consciously living in you. Imagine the Adi Shakti is telling each of us, I am always seated in your heart, consciously living in you. Now we can read it and think of something else, but if we go deep into it, what an ocean of wealth this one sentence has. The mother telling me, each one of us, I am always seated in your heart, consciously living in you. So she's living through all our emotions, all our thoughts. Every trial we go through, she's living inside us, she's working things out. So there is this magic living and breathing inside us. But if we don't have a conscious relationship with this magic, it's like I'm a millionaire with millions in my bank account, but I don't know banking. I don't know how to write a check. I don't know how to get that money. So having a true relation with the mother is in my small way having access to the magic that she is inside each of us. Just think, wow, whenever I'm feeling weak, just to remember her words, I'm always seated in your heart, consciously living through you. Okay? So now these are Sri Aurobindo's words on the mother. The inner Godhead never imposes herself. She is living inside us, but she never imposes herself. Mother says, I intervene, but I never interfere. If you want to go downhill, I may not interfere, but I'll intervene to let you get hurt the most. You have to choose. So the inner Godhead never imposes herself. She neither demands nor threatens. She offers and gives herself, conceals and forgets herself in the heart of all beings and things. She never accuses, she never judges, nor curses, nor condemns. So, in fact, Mother herself, when she was little and she was brought up in a Catholic household, she says, I did not want a God like that, a God who punishes and rewards. I decided I was better off without. So she she didn't believe in a God like that till she discovered God through her own inner experiences. So she herself is somebody who neither judges, nor curses, nor condemns, but works unceasingly to perfect without constraint, to mend without reproach. How beautiful. Whatever's broken in us, she mends without reproaching us for being broken, and to mend without reproach, to encourage without impatience. A very patient mother will also get impatient with her child when the child's not listening. But what is she? She encourages without impatience, to enrich each one with all the wealth he can receive. She's talking, of course, about spiritual wealth. She is inside us, consciously living within us, and she works to enrich each one with all the wealth he can receive. Nash, can you get them chairs, please? With all the wealth they can receive. She is the mother whose love bears fruit and nourishes, guards and protects, counsels and consoles. Because she understands everything, she can endure everything, excuse and pardon. Excuse and pardon everything, hope and prepare for everything, bearing everything within herself. She owns nothing that does not belong to all. And because she reigns over all, she is the servant of all. What a beautiful line. Because she reigns over all, she's the supreme mother. In Savitri, there's a beautiful phrase, she's our beloved despot. Despot is a tyrant, because whatever happens, her will prevails. So she reigns over all, but she is the servant of all. Sri Aurobindo says, no, he who is the master of universes is a slave to love. If the devotee's heart calls him with love, he has to answer. So she who reigns over all, she is the servant of all. That is why all, great and small, who want to be kings with her and gods in her, become like her, not despots but servitors among their brethren. So her most powerful child or somebody most connected to her, if that child has a oneness with her, there'll be no sense of I'm superior to anyone. That child will want to serve everyone, because that the supreme mother, who's Parame, who's more supreme than anything, she comes here and serves everyone. So if we are in oneness with her, there's no place for arrogance. There's no place for thinking I'm superior, so I won't serve. How beautiful is this humble role of servant, the role of all who have been revealers and heralds of the God who is within all, of the divine love that animates all things. And until we can follow their example and become true servants even as they, let us allow ourselves so touching little stories of Mother and Sri Aurobindo, how they served everything. Many of us must be knowing there was a sparrow who would peck at a window in at a mirror in Sri Aurobindo's room and get hurt. And Sri Aurobindo was busy with bringing the supramental down, noticed that and said a cloth should be put on it so that the sparrow isn't hurt. They cared about every little thing. Mother would prepare food for the pet cat she had and the pet dog she had and everyone. Look at Mother Teresa. I read a story that one day when somebody went into her ashram, now she is revered as the mother in her own rights by people all over the world. And somebody from abroad came, Radhanath Swami. He's written about it in his book, The Journey Home. When he visited Mother Teresa, they said, please wait, Mother's busy in the kitchen. So he said, can I go there? And he saw she was just washing and scrubbing all the dishes from which people had eaten. And she was the head of that ashram. And he asked her, Mother, why are you doing this at your age? She was an old lady. So she said, no, I'm doing this for my Lord, for my Christ. I'm washing the vessels as a service to Him. And until we can follow their example and become true servants even as they, let us allow ourselves to be penetrated and transformed by this divine love. Let us offer without reserve this marvelous instrument, our physical organism. To achieve this total self-consecration, all means are good. All methods have their value. The one thing needful is to persevere in our will to attain this goal. So we come back to our topic, true relations with the mother. This kind of humility and urge to serve the mother and all creation is a very good foundation for true relation, because everything's the mother. Whatever you're serving, you're finally serving her. Then this is a beautiful aphorism by Sri Aurobindo, aphorism 141. Nietzsche was a philosopher, saw the Superman as the lion soul passing out of camelhood. So a camel is a symbol of patience, lion is power. Nietzsche's Superman was this very powerful being like a lion who's passed out of camelhood. Camelhood is patience, in a way kindness, but Nietzsche's Superman was strong, ruthless, not like Sri Aurobindo's Superman. So Nietzsche saw the Superman as a lion soul passing out of camelhood. But the true heraldic device and token of the Superman is the lion seated upon the camel which stands upon the cow of plenty. How very beautiful. The true token of a Superman is a lion, all power, seated on a camel. Camel is patience. The power is channeled through patience. Seated on a cow of plenty. A cow, a wish-fulfilling cow. So that power is being funneled through patience into service, which is serving everyone. That's the true token of a Superman. Not just a ruthless lion who's powerful and attacks everyone, but whose lioness is channeled through the patience of a camel and the generosity of a wish-fulfilling cow. So beautiful. But the true heraldic device and token of the Superman is the lion seated upon the camel which stands upon the cow of plenty. If thou canst not be the slave of all mankind, thou art not fit to be its master. Even in corporates, when a leader is willing to serve his juniors and teammates, it's the best possible structure, isn't it? Whereas a leader who sits on a high horse and expects everyone to rally around him, sooner or later the bubble's going to break. So, if thou canst not be the slave of all mankind, thou art not fit to be its master. If thou canst not make thy nature as Vasishtha's cow of plenty, the wish-fulfilling cow, with all mankind to draw its wish from her udders, what avails thy leonine supermanhood? He's saying, what's the point of all your power if that power is not being channeled through the udders of a wish-fulfilling cow and serving all humanity? To be the slave of all mankind means to be ready to serve mankind, and to make oneself as the cow of plenty means to be able to pour forth abundantly all the force, the light, the power that mankind needs in order to emerge from its ignorance and incapacity. This is Mother's commentary on his aphorism. Sri Aurobindo's aphorism ends where he says, what avails of thy leonine supermanhood? So this is what Mother says, the power that mankind needs in order to emerge from its ignorance and incapacity. For if this were not so, a superhuman being would be a burden rather than a help to earth. Because if the power is channeled the asuric way, where the power feeds the ego, where the power makes you feel that you're the main intermediary of God and you don't want anyone else to come forward and you don't want to help others to come forward, then you're going the asuric way rather than the Superman way of Sri Aurobindo. Then Mother says, there is no one for whom it is impossible to realize the divine. Only for some it will take many, many lives. whereas there are others who will do it in this very lifetime. So I don't know if you remember, Bhagwan Das ji used to look after the center before Hetal, and this was in the earlier days when I just found Mother and Sri Aurobindo, and he told me something I never forgot. He said, Anahita, every soul is going to reach God, whether 10 years later, 100 years later, 10 lifetimes later, but every soul is going to reach God, and that's what Mother is saying. Only for some it will take many, many lives, whereas there are others who will do it in this very lifetime. It is a question of will. It is for you to choose. But I must say that at the present moment, conditions are particularly favorable. So Mother and Sri Aurobindo actually call this time period the hour of God, because they've said that because the supramental force has come down into the earth atmosphere, man has a chance to spiritually advance in a way that earth has never experienced before. If you take one step towards the light, in this time period, light will take 9 steps towards you. So she's saying it's the most conducive time. Conditions just now are particularly favorable. Then Mother says, Sri Aurobindo came to tell the world of the beauty of the future that must be realized. Yes, right now there's not too much beauty if we look, but he's come to tell the world of the beauty of the future that must be realized. He came to give not a hope but a certitude. So beautiful. He didn't come to give us hope. He came to give us a certitude, almost like a promise of the splendor towards which the world moves. The world is not an unfortunate accident. Just today I met a young ex-student of mine who was saying, I'm very disturbed by the news, the Rajasthan case and this and that, and I'm feeling very hassled by it. And yes, if we look at the conditions of the world, they are disheartening. But Mother said such a beautiful thing. She said, if you see mud, don't waste your time turning your gaze in the mud and being unhappy. Join your gaze with mine and look at the sky. The mud I will handle in my own way. And that's the best we can do. I'm not saying to turn a blind eye, but when we can't help certain circumstances, to keep looking at them and feeling negative, it's not a help. So, and Sri Aurobindo gives us an assurance, this world is not an unfortunate accident. It is a marvel which moves towards its expression. It's a marvel which moves towards its expression. Then Mother says, in this formidable disorder and terrible destruction can be seen a great working. Now we don't have the vision to see it, but Mother has the vision to see it, and from that vision she's saying, in this formidable disorder and terrible destruction can be seen a great working, a necessary toil preparing the earth for a new sowing, which will give to the world the shining harvest of a new race. Yeah, so in all this toil and turmoil, seeds of the new race are being sown. Then this is from her prayers and meditation. Mother says, O Divine Mother. Now Mother used to maintain a spiritual diary. It's available here. It's a marvel. One should have it, called Prayers and Meditation. And she used to write down her spiritual experiences in that diary. So she says, O Divine Mother, I nestle so close in thy arms. Now we have to remember that if she is the Divine Mother, many people ask, who is she addressing? But she was the Mother embodied in a human form. And when she aspires to the Divine Mother, she's taking all human aspiration and offering it to the feet of the transcendent Divine Mother. She's aspiring for us. So she's saying, O Divine Mother, I nestle so close into thy arms that I became altogether thyself. Then in the silence of our mute ecstasy, a voice from yet profounder depths arose. Turn towards those who have need of thy love. Always this feeling of serving people who are in pain. All nature dumbly calls to her feet alone to heal the aching throb of life. The line from Savitri. So, turn towards those who have need of thy love. And when we perceived in its entirety the hideous suffering of the world, we willed ardently that the light of divine love should be made manifest. Then, that the will might be yet more powerful and effective, we implored thy aid. She's telling the Divine Mother, this was my will, but I offered that will to you, asking for your aid. And from the unsounded depths of the unknown, a reply came, formidable, and we knew that the earth was saved. This is a recurring theme in Mother and Sri Aurobindo's writing, the constant assurance to humanity that earth is saved. Then in 1916, 20th December, the Buddha appears to the Mother in her meditation and says, I see in thy heart a diamond surrounded by a golden light. So Mother's light is always a diamond bright white light, and golden light is the light of the supramental. So Buddha says, I see in thy heart a diamond surrounded by a golden light. Turn to earth and men. Everything from the beyond is this message to her. Turn to earth and men. Thy heart carries a blessed message for those who are athirst for compassion. Buddha represented compassion, right? So he's coming to the Mother and saying, turn to earth and men. Thy heart carries a blessed message for those who are athirst for compassion. Henceforth, nothing can attack the diamond. The diamond light you carry, nothing can attack it. Later, the Buddha came often to her. 21st February 1972, which was her 94th birthday, Mother says, the whole day I had a strong feeling that it was the birthday of everyone. Something new has manifested in the world, and all who were ready and receptive could embody it. So beautiful. On her birthday, because she had made herself one with all humanity, she felt it was everyone's birthday, because she received a new element and through her it was going to all human beings. At darshan on that day, a devotee sees her body as no more than 40 years old, and she was 94. And a person actually saw a vision of her as no more than 40 years old. June 11th, 1954, Mother says, it is their own mental and vital formation of me that the sadhaks love, not myself. Through this image, they receive the little amount of universal forces and still smaller amount of supramental forces that manage to filter through, but have very little contact with what my body truly is, or with the tremendous accumulation of conscious energy that it represents. She feels herself floating in an atmosphere of radiant consciousness that is totally beyond their understanding. So Mother and Sri Aurobindo were very kind to our human sentimentalities. Once they had a devotee who was very into puja part, and on Durga Puja time, this was in the earlier days when there were less disciples. The devotee told them that please sit here, you are my God, I want to do your puja. So they humored him, they sat. Or was it a her? I don't know the gender, but I remember this story. I think it was a her, And then next year again she went and said, now let me do your puja again. And that time mother fired her. She said, do you think divine beings like you doing all this noise and this hoo-ha? The real puja we want is the offering of your heart, the flower of your devotion. That's what's of value to us. You must stop all this religiosity right now. But 1 year they humored her because maybe she wasn't ready to hear it that year. After staying 1 year in the ashram, when she was ready to hear it, she gave it to her. Then in 1957, she writes, in Pondicherry, you cannot breathe without breathing my consciousness. It saturates the atmosphere almost materially in the subtle physical and extends 10 kilometers from here. So beautiful. In Pondicherry, you cannot breathe without breathing my consciousness. It saturates the atmosphere materially. And you know, the kids I take to Pondi, they really carry something which is so receptive. Externally, they may all be into parties and whatever. But few hours into being, like we reached Pondi by 3:30. When I have an orientation with them at 5:30, they are already telling me, Miss, we don't know why our thoughts are much less. We are not feeling burdened or stressed. We don't feel like talking. So I'm not saying every child, but there have been children who will be 2 hours of being in Pondi, they already start feeling a shift in themselves because you're breathing that atmosphere over there. With those whom I have accepted as disciples, Mother says, there is more than a tie, there is an emanation of me. We read about this in detail last class, where the Mother says, where Sri Aurobindo says that in all people who have a close link with the Mother puts an emanation of herself to support their growth. Now, further, she says, a power greater than that of evil can alone win the victory. It is not a crucified but a glorified body that will save the world. So far, all the avatars like Krishna or even Christ, you've seen the death they've met. So now Mother and Sri Aurobindo are saying it is not a crucified but a glorified body that will save the world. Later explains it is neither sacrifice nor renunciation nor weakness, but the delight which is strength, endurance, supreme courage which is brought by the supramental force. So, a few classes back we discussed how when Mother had asked Sri Aurobindo that every time an avatar came to take evolution forward, it somehow didn't end to humanize in a very pleasant way. So, will it happen again? So, Sri Aurobindo said a decisive no. He told her that this time the divine has come equipped with the supermind, which is the self-dynamizing power of the Supreme. And supermind has all the power to conquer evil. And it will be a glorified body which will take earth forward, not a crucified body. And the nature of the supramental force is strength, endurance, supreme courage and delight. And this is what will conquer evil in its own domain, the material world. And this we see in Savitri. And Sri Aurobindo says, I'm not a philosopher, I'm a seer. I write what I see. Whatever he's written in Savitri is what he saw in his vision. So this whole encounter between death and the Divine Mother, in the olden scriptures we see Durga killing the Asura and all. Now in this new age epic, none of that happens. How does death dissolve? Mother just stands her ground and shows him who she really is. And she holds her power and death crumbles. So that's the power of the supermind, joy and strength and delight and endurance. Not fighting by attacking, fighting by just standing firm in your ground of spiritual power. Like if you look at the sun, we were just discussing this in the morning, the sun doesn't do anything to make flowers bloom, right? It doesn't push a flower, come on, bloom. It just shines and the flower blooms. It just shines on rubbish and the rubbish biodegrades. So that's why the sun is such a beautiful symbol of the supramental, because the supramental is not going to conquer by attacking and fighting. The supramental is just going to stand its ground in its power, and whatever needs to dissolve will dissolve. So this is again from Letters on the Mother by Sri Aurobindo. So Sri Aurobindo says, I should perhaps add one or two things to avoid misapprehensions. First, the love for the divine of which I speak is not a psychic love only. It is the love of all the being, not just the psychic love of the divine in the heart. It's love of all the being. The vital physical included, vital is the emotional. All are capable of the same self-giving. It is a mistake to believe that if the vital loves, it must be a love that demands. You know, our emotional being often demands of the mother, imposes the satisfaction of its desire. You must do this for me, otherwise you're not my mother. You didn't grant my prayer, I'm angry at you. That's the nature of the vital. I don't know, I have a lot of people who talk like this, but I've never understood it. Of course, Sri Aurobindo says that if you can't give God the wrestle of a lover, give him the wrestle of if you can't give God the embrace of a lover, give him the embrace of a wrestler, but give him an embrace anyway. But for me, I've never understood this quarrel with God, because who are you quarreling with? God is your higher self, and everything that's happening is not happening by an alien will. It's happening by the will of your deepest and highest. So I don't know, it's never made sense to me, but of course each one has their own path. So all are capable of the same self-giving. It is a mistake to believe that if the vital loves, it must be a love that demands and imposes the satisfaction of its desires. It is a mistake to think that it must be either that or else the vital, in order to escape from its attachment, must draw away altogether from its object of love. The vital can be as absolute in its unquestioning self-giving as any other part of the nature. Nothing can be more generous than its movement, this movement of self-giving. So when we are talking about right relation with the mother, we are talking the most fundamental correct relation with the mother is this movement of self-giving. This movement of I'm here, you can do whatever you like with me. That's giving yourself. But we can talk about it, but to really live it, it's almost like breathing the air of another planet. Because in our relation, we are always telling, Mother, aam karjo, tem karjo. Please do this for me, please do that for me, which is all right. The mother doesn't say no to that, because that's how we form a relationship with her. But that's not self-giving. At least let's be clear about that. Self-giving is, I'm here, you do what you like with me. Very difficult to live like that, even for a moment. Think about it. In all our relationship with mother, we are always instructing her, do this for me, do that for me, make this happen, make that happen. But self-giving is another game altogether. So somebody asks Sri Aurobindo, how shall I find out that I'm in the full state of psychic love? Sri Aurobindo says, by the absence of ego. 1. You're in a state of psychic love when there's no ego, when there's no I'm no good or I'm too good. Both are ego. By pure devotion, by submission and surrender to the divine. So, absence of ego, by pure devotion, by submission and surrender to the divine. Somebody asked Sri Aurobindo, when the whole nature is engrossed in feeling, thinking, acting around the word mother, would the psychic be realized? The whole nature engrossed in feeling, thinking, acting around the word mother, would the psychic be realized? Sri Aurobindo says that would of itself be the psychic state, a state in which the whole nature is engrossed in feeling, thinking, acting around the word mother. Now Sri Aurobindo says, do not think whether people agree with you or do not agree with you, or whether you are good or bad, but think that the mother loves me and I am the mother's. If you base your life on that thought, everything will soon become easy. So beautiful and simple. But it's a sadhana to live it. Do not think whether people agree with you or do not agree with you, or whether you're good or bad, or whether you're perceived as good or bad. What image you have in other people's mind, that's irrelevant. Think that the mother loves me and I am the mother's. So I know somebody who lives like this. Somehow he has no filters. He will just say anything to anyone, anytime. I'm not saying that's absolutely the way to be, but I did once ask him, how are you so immune to what people think of you? Because he doesn't give a jot. Then only you can live like that, no saying anything to anyone, calling people out. A very honest person, not a mean person, good-hearted. But he won't mince words. He'll say anything to anyone, anytime. And he'll face it. If they get angry with him, they don't like him, they don't talk to him, he couldn't be bothered. So I asked him that, how are you like this? And he gave me such a beautiful reply. He said that, will what other people think of me change my relationship with mother? If it won't, then why should I care? How they think of me doesn't alter the way I feel for mother and how mother feels for me. That's such a beautiful way to live. It's liberating actually. So if you live like this, the curtain would soon disappear, for it is made of these thoughts and nothing else. Very often what puts a veil between me and the divine is too much self-regard. Self-regard is, how am I appearing? What are people thinking of me? How can they talk to me like this? Oh, she said this, so she thinks very well. All this self-regard is a very dense veil between me and the divine. And I shouldn't care about all that at all. Anyway, it's quicksilver, no? Today somebody who thinks the world of me, tomorrow will be indifferent. None of this is really solid ground on which to build my happiness. Okay, now Sri Aurobindo writes, this happens when the work is always associated with the mother's thought, done as an offering to her, with the call to do it through you. All ideas of ego, all association of egoistic feelings with the work must disappear. One begins to feel the mother's force doing the work. The psychic grows through a certain inner attitude behind the work, and the Aadhar becomes open to the psychic intuitions and influences from within and to the descent from above. Then the result of meditation can come through the work itself. So he's saying a very important thing. Whatever work we do, normally we do it for the ego. We do it so that people will tell us, oh, you did it so well. I'll get promotion, I'll get fame, I'll get whatever. But that's not the right motive force for doing it. The right motive force for doing any work is, Mother, this is your world. This whole world is your body. So whatever I do, I'm doing it for you. And whatever results come, if success comes, it's yours. Mine is only the gratitude, not the claim to fame. The claim to fame is yours. Mine is the gratitude. If failure comes, that's also yours. Why am I taking onus for the results of the work? And very often before doing any work, we pray to the Mother, Mother, let it go well, and it's good. But maybe we can eventually graduate to a prayer that, Mother, just let me be your instrument. Good, bad is up to you. I don't even know what is really good and bad. Sometimes the results which we think are bad are actually good in the long run. But I want to be your instrument. I want to be your channel. And that's my prayer. I'm giving myself to you. You work through me. And that's why today in the morning class we were distinguishing between two very important things, activity and action. So activity is this compulsion to keep doing something. It's an agitated restlessness to keep being occupied, because the ego feels affirmed in life if it's occupied doing something. And if you are in the mode of activity, you cannot relax. Even if you're lying down, your mind is thinking, now I'll breathe well, now I'll do this, now I'll relax this part. But you cannot make relaxation happen. Actually, it'll help a little bit, but you cannot make it happen. When you move from activity to action, that's when real relaxation happens. What is action? Action in our language is self-giving. I'm doing nothing. I have no urge to do anything. I'm just here, present to whatever arises. I don't want to fix anything, change anything, redirect anything. I am just here, given to this moment, because the Mother is also the eternal now, right? In her formless aspect, Mother is the eternal now of the Zen practitioners. Mother fits into every practice because she's the supreme. And every tradition, one way or the other, talks about her in different languages. So she is the eternal now of Zen. So in the eternal now, everything is perfectly as it needs to be. In the ultimate dimension, in the dimension of God vision, everything is exactly as it needs to be, right? And that ultimate dimension is condensing into the phenomenal dimension all the time. But it's holding on to the eternal good from which the ultimate is manifesting as the phenomenal. So if you see it from that perspective, everything in this moment is exactly as it needs to be. Nothing is lacking, there is no excess. In that state, if I'm here, if I'm present, if I'm just with my body, with my sensations, with my thoughts, without trying to change anything, I'm just present to it, given to the Mother, then I am just awareness, right? I am the observing field. I am the Sakshi. And when I step from thinking into that field, that is a field of infinite intelligence. Mental thinking activity is a field of limited intelligence. When I step into that field of infinite intelligence, I don't have to do anything. Whatever needs to fall into place falls into place by itself. So if something very negative arises, and somehow I'm just present to it, trusting Mother, trusting the moment, without trying to fix it, somehow a reordering happens and things fall into place. The Buddhists call this mindfulness, right? And they say that in the field of mindfulness, everything gets its perfect ordering. So we'll do a little practice we did in the morning class today. So sit up straight. And this practice, we use the help of the water element to be in that state of self-giving. We have to remember that elements are not non-living. The Sankhya philosophy calls them the Panch Mahabhutas, the 5 great principles of existence, living essences. So, I want you to focus on the water element. In the Chidakash, in the space in front of your eyes, when your eyes are closed, you visualize a drop of water falling slowly to the earth. The drop appears to spread, but science will tell you that water is not spreading actually. It just falls on earth and remains still, given to the earth. It's the intermolecular forces of attraction between molecules of earth and molecules of water that spread it. So in that sense, water is an element of complete stillness. Total action is what's moved by the whole, but zero activity. Water has no will to move by itself. It only moves when earth moves it. Now visualize a thorn in the Chidakash, the space in front of you with your eyes shut. And visualize a drop of water in slow motion piercing the thorn. Now, the water has no mind to fight the thorn, to change it. It just falls. And it's earth and its gravity that makes the water move around the thorn. It takes it to the thorn and it takes it through the thorn. But water does nothing. So twin your mind with the drop of water, trusting yourself to the earth of grace. Whatever thorns arise in our thoughts, in our emotions, I am water, just present to it. No mind to change it, fight it. I am given to the earth of grace. Earth will shift it. Earth will do what it has to or not do it. But I am just here, present, aware. That state of self-giving, which is actually a state of silence, with no urge to human activity, so that then the mother's action can happen, replacing human activity. So just stay with this contemplation for the next 1 or 2 minutes. You're just here, aware, alert, attentive. Whatever thoughts, emotions, body sensations arise, no urge to change them or identify with them. You just let them be in your liquid presence. Try to maintain this poise in your being even as your eyes open and we continue. Sri Aurobindo further says, it is not enough to remember that the work is the mother's and the results also. You must learn to feel the mother's forces behind you and to open to the inspiration and the guidance. Always to remember by an effort of the mind is too difficult. To remember the mother always by an effort of the mind is too difficult. But if you get into the consciousness in which you feel always the mother's force in you or supporting you, that is the true thing. But it begins with a mental effort, then your mind falls silent and you just feel you're sitting there and mother's doing everything through you. You're doing nothing. It's a very living experience when that happens. Will those who live in peace and samatha, somebody asks Sri Aurobindo, but do no work for the mother or do little work get transformation? Sri Aurobindo says no, they do not get transformed at all. Work done in the right spirit is the greatest way to get transformed. There should be a time, further Sri Aurobindo says, there should be at the time of work no meditation, for that would withdraw the attention from the work. So for example, if I'm doing some accounting, some teaching, and I'm also saying ma in my mind, I might be very distracted. I might not be focused on the work. So that's what he's saying. There should be at the time of work no meditation, for that would withdraw the attention from the work. But there should be the constant memory of the one to whom you offer it. So not like a repeated japa or something, but it's a background consciousness. Mother, I'm offering this to you. I'm doing this for you. The moment my ego comes in and a self-regard comes in, how am I doing? Will people appreciate it? Change it. No, I don't want to feed this to the ego. I want to do this for the mother. There should be a constant memory of the one to whom you offer it. This is only a first process, for when you can have constantly the feeling of a calm being within, concentrated in the sense of the divine presence, while the surface mind does the work. So obviously somebody would have asked Sri Aurobindo that how can I work and remember mother, because I can get consumed with the concentration of the mother. So Sri Aurobindo is saying a dual consciousness eventually develops. There's a poise within, a feeling of a calm being within, concentrated in the sense of the divine presence, while the surface mind does the work. Or when you can begin to feel always that it is the mother's force that is doing the work and you are only a channel or an instrument, then in place of memory there will have begun the automatic constant realization of yoga, divine union in works. So it starts with mentally remembering the mother, which grows into not a mental remembrance but an inner feeling of the mother's presence, which is calm behind as the frontal being engages in work. And eventually it's the mother who takes over. You're in union with her as the work is being done. In your work and acts, you must do the same as in your concentration. Open to the mother. Put them under her guidance. Call in the peace, the supporting power and protection. And in order that they may work, reject all wrong influences that might come in their way by creating wrong, careless, unconscious movements. So while working, make an offering of it to the mother and remove unconscious movements of the ego. Will I be praised? Will I be the best at it? I must be the best at it. Nothing like the best. Be the best you can be. You can't be the best among humanity because humanity is too unique. Each one is their unique best. You can only be your best self. You can't be best among others. So this urge to compare, to be better, to be seen as better, all these are wrong movements that vitiate the work. So Sri Aurobindo is saying, reject all wrong influences that might come in their way by creating wrong, careless or unconscious movements. Follow this principle and your whole being will become one, under one rule. Now somebody asks Sri Aurobindo, I have read both in the Synthesis of Yoga and Sadhana through Work for the Mother and Mother's Conversation that every act and movement and thought should be an offering. Even if this is a strictly mental effort without the heart's devotion, as it may be at first, it is sure to lead to devotion provided the effort is sincere. This discipline is quite possible in acts of a more or less mechanical nature like walking or eating. Yeah, I can remember the mother while walking or eating. But where the work involves mental, with the remembrance, the attention will get divided and the work will not be done properly. It's a valid question. Sri Aurobindo says it is because people live in the surface mind and are identified with it. When one lives more inwardly, it is only the surface consciousness that is occupied and one stands behind it in another, which is silent and self-offered. So when we are interiorized and we work from that interiorized condition, the inner being is calm and with the mother, and it's only the surface which is occupied with the work. Does this consciousness come only by aspiration? Now the sadhak saying, I don't know how to get to this consciousness. It's beautiful to hear about it. So he asks, does this consciousness come only by aspiration, or can one have it by following a mental discipline? Answer, one starts by a mental effort. Start where you are. That's always a good place to start. Afterwards, it is an inner consciousness that is formed, which need not be always thinking of the mother. It's not only with the mind that we connect to the mother, right? Even when we are not thinking of her, but we have an inner connect, there's a feeling of I'm good, I'm joyful, I'm peaceful. It's just a feeling. It's not a constant thought of mother as a form, but it's a feeling you carry in your heart even when the mind is not thinking of her. And with this feeling, the mind can engage in various things. So we stop here. Hands together in a namaste at the heart, and just a thought offered to the mother, a collective aspiration from all of us, that whenever we hear water, raindrops, water in the bath, water while cooking or drinking it, let it be a reminder from the universe to drop activity, to be like water, still, and allow the action of the whole to work through us, to just be present without the need to change, fix, do something, just being like water is. That's our collective aspiration to Mother, that when I'm like water, released from unnecessary agitation of human activity. I can be the instrument of her action and allow her earth of grace to move me as it will. Three Oms.